He who sits alone, sleeps alone, and walks alone will find delight in the solitude of the forest. The Buddha. As hard as it is to admit, maybe being alone is exactly what you need. We spend so much time surrounded by people who drain our energy. Friends who only reach out when they need something, conversations that lead nowhere, and relationships that feel like obligations rather than support. And deep down you feel it. The constant noise is exhausting, but the thought of stepping back, being alone, that feels terrifying, doesn't it? But what if solitude isn't punishment, it's clarity? What if stepping away isn't a sign of weakness, but a way to reclaim your energy, your creativity, and your sense of self? We live in a world that rewards constant connection, where silence feels like failure. But when you're surrounded by people who don't have your best interest at heart, you're not connected, you're trapped. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in draining friendships because being alone felt scarier than staying stuck? How often have you let guilt stop you from cutting ties with people who take and never give? Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the psychologist behind the concept of flow, believes that true clarity and focus come when you take control of your mental environment, when you step away from the noise and into solitude, not to isolate yourself, but to reconnect with who you are and what you want. When embraced intentionally, solitude becomes a tool for your greatest breakthroughs. Stepping back isn't an escape. It's a way to unlock focus, creativity, and the version of yourself you've been chasing all along. Let's be real. Being alone forces you to face things you'd rather ignore. The doubts, the what-ifs, the mistakes that replay in your head. That's why it's easier to scroll endlessly, call someone up, or distract yourself with noise. But does avoiding solitude silence those thoughts? You know the answer. It doesn't. It just pushes them deeper, letting them grow louder in the background. Csikszentmihalyi called this state psychic entropy, when your mind feels chaotic, restless, and out of sync. Yes, solitude can feel uncomfortable at first. The silence can feel deafening. But that's where self-discovery begins. When Buddhist monk Sheng Yen spent months in solitary retreat, he didn't feel alone. In his words, "Though I was in a small enclosed room, I was surrounded by the sound of life, the hum of insects, the rustle of leaves." The truth is, we're never really alone. We're part of something bigger, connected by the same sky, the same earth, the same breath. We've been conditioned to fear our own thoughts. We run from them, filling every quiet moment with noise. But when you sit with those thoughts, you begin to understand them. You learn to separate the fears that hold you back from the dreams that drive you forward. When you embrace this, solitude shifts from isolation to connection, not with others, but with yourself and the world around you. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history happened when people embraced solitude. Beethoven walked alone in the woods for hours, composing symphonies in his mind. Steve Wozniak built the first Apple computer alone in his garage, not in team meetings. J.K. Rowling imagined the world of Harry Potter while sitting alone in a cafe. These moments of quiet weren't isolating, they were freeing. Solitude gave them the space to create without outside noise. You have that same potential. Solitude is your chance to tune out the noise of the world and tune into yourself. But solitude isn't easy. You're left alone with your thoughts, doubts, and worries, and yet within that discomfort lies the potential for something incredible. Flow. The power of flow in solitude. So, what is flow? Flow is the mental state where you're so absorbed in what you're doing that time slows down, distractions disappear, and everything feels almost effortless. Think about a time when you were writing, drawing, gaming, or even organizing something, and you suddenly looked up, surprised at how much time had passed. That's flow. It's not just productivity, it's when the task itself feels meaningful and enjoyable, like you're in sync with yourself. But flow doesn't happen automatically. So how can you start embracing solitude in a way that unlocks your potential? The 4 conditions for flow in solitude. 1. Balance between challenge and skill. The task must stretch you, but not overwhelm you. When you're alone, choose something meaningful that's within reach but still challenging, like journaling your thoughts, learning an instrument, or brainstorming your next big idea. 2. Clear goals. You can't drift aimlessly. Solitude becomes meaningful when you know why you're spending this time alone. Set a simple, clear intention. I'm going to reflect on my goals. Or, I'll write 1 page of my story. 3. Immediate feedback. Solitude is the perfect space to measure progress in real time. When you see your thoughts on paper or complete that small creative task, you experience the reward of forward movement. 4. A sense of control. This is your time. Turn off notifications, block distractions, and remind yourself, you're in charge here. Unlike in a group setting, no one else is steering the ship. Tonight, spend 30 minutes alone, no distractions, no screens, just you, a journal, and your thoughts. Set one small goal. Maybe reflect on your week, write down your dreams, or work on a creative project. When your mind starts throwing doubts at you, don't run. Observe them, let them pass, and refocus. The more you practice this, the less power they'll have. In a world obsessed with constant connection, solitude isn't isolation. It's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's the space where you rediscover your strengths, your passions, and your truest self. Remember, your greatest breakthroughs often begin in the quiet. And in that quiet, you'll find that you are never truly alone. You are with the one person who matters most. You.